Thế hôm nay chúng ta sẽ nghe phần này nhé. Thế thì I'm sorry, trước khi nghe thì mình sẽ revise lại cái Unit 4 một chút xíu nhé. So when we come to Unit 4, there are several things that we have to remember. The first thing is the speaking questions related to the information in the keynotes. So remember, try to answer the following questions. The first one is, why is information a key resource for modern businesses? And then we also have to indicate the importance of information management, and we have to understand about the sources or the forms that information come from. And we also have to give the definition of real-time technology. And for the listening number 1, there are several questions that we also have to answer them all. The first one is the definition of intranet, and then after that about the challenges or maybe the difficulties in managing intranet, and then also the security issues for the internet. And these questions are all the questions that we have discussed in groups. And we also have to remember about the solution or maybe about the measures that can deal or maybe how to solve the excessive amounts of information. And in your own opinion, how do you assess the having a lot of information? So it will be easier for the managers to do their jobs, or it will be more difficult for them to do their jobs. So these are the things that we have to remember. And now we will come to listening number 3. And in listening number 3, there are maybe several questions that we will have to revise it later after you have listened to them all. So let's come to listening number 3 on page 38. Firstly, we have to rearrange the sentences to the correct order you hear from the interview. So let's look at maybe the sentences for me first. We have the first one, that is the main security weakness of business organization. The second one is the difference between two key terms. The next one is what he did when he was hired to assist a company. And the last one is how to make staff more aware of security risks. So listen it for the first time and rearrange the sentences to the correct order. Vậy bây giờ mình sẽ nghe trước nha, và mình sẽ sắp xếp lại cho cô theo đúng cái thứ tự mà mình nghe được A, B, C, D.
Unit 4, Listening 3, page 38.
Gérard, what exactly is the difference between business intelligence and industrial espionage?
Well, the two terms are really very different, because the first is entirely legal and the second is not. Business intelligence is the collection of information through any legal or open source. So that could be through trade publications, business magazines, government organizations, specialist data sources, the internet, or even just through straightforward observation. On the other hand, industrial espionage is all about gathering intelligence by illegal methods. Now, there are various ways people can do that: by electronic surveillance, by stealing confidential information, and, of course, by recruiting human agents from inside a business operation.
How should businesses go about protecting their information?
I'd say there are really two critical areas where businesses are particularly vulnerable. The first of those is through their information systems. It may be that a business hasn't protected its communication network properly, so it might not even know that critical files have been interfered with or have gone missing. So protecting your information, how it is accessed and how it is exchanged, that's the first thing. On the human side, there are other dangers. People are not always honest, and they may be prepared to communicate confidential information in exchange for something they want. You know, a competitor might try to influence or even hire a key member of your staff. So you really need to have staff you can trust, and that means being sure that what they are doing is in the best interests of the company. So I'm afraid there are quite a lot of good reasons for companies to install software and systems to monitor the activities of their employees. It's sad to have to say that, but these days information is just too valuable.
How would you advise an employee to be more aware of the danger of espionage?
I would say that it's more a question of training than advising. I say that because most employees do not understand the techniques that outsiders can use to obtain information about a business. So, intelligence or security training can be very helpful, because it's always easier for people to protect themselves once they know what they have to protect themselves against. You know, competitors can get a lot of useful information from employees just by asking the right questions at the right time. And an employee may not even realize that he or she is being manipulated. So, good basic security training is definitely the first thing. And that's something that most companies don't provide because they don't know the risks that they are running.
Can you give us an example of a company that you have advised and explain how you helped them?
Well, I'm afraid I can't give you any names, but yes, I can answer that question in general terms. I mean, I've been involved in cases where we've been called into a company that had been the target of industrial espionage, and our job was to identify and locate the systems that had been installed. These were mostly quite sophisticated electronic devices which recorded telephone conversations and monitored meetings and then transmitted that information to outsiders. So the first part of the job was to conduct a full security review, and we did that at the weekend when there was nobody at the company. And then, once we'd done that, well, we advised the company's information managers on what they had to do to make sure that it wouldn't happen again. But obviously I can't discuss the exact details with you. In my profession, we don't give away confidential information. We protect it.
Okay, so the whole class, after the first listening, so tell me, can you rearrange the sentences to the correct order? So, what is the correct order? After the first listening, so how do you maybe rearrange the position of A, B, C, and D? Okay, B, A, D, C. B, A, D, C. So let's check. B, A, D, and C. Okay, now let's listen once again.